Roll call.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, use your phone.
Okay.
Roll call.
Chuck,
Here.
Ron,
Yes.
Helen. Yes. Jerry. Scott.
Yes.
Open meeting back posters there on the east wall.
Thank you.
Approve mayor's appointment to vacate city council position.
I think you just have to make your suggestion for the appointment, and then we need a motion and a second to accept.
Appointment, Ken Counts is the person I choose.
There's four of us here right now. Josh has to place a vote on that.
Michael?
Only if it's a tie.
Yeah, only if it's a tie, because you four make a quorum.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I make a motion,
Chuck made the motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Ron?
Yep. Then roll call.
Ron?
Yes.
Helen? Yes. Jerry? Scott?
Yes.
And Chuck?
Yes.
Okay, administrator oath of office to mayor's appointment to vacate vacant city council position.
Do you have it? I thought you had it.
We'll administer the oath of office as soon as we can find it.
You had it from the last time.
Sometimes we did it. Like the Republicans say they didn't say it.
Can I take that vote? I think he told him. You shouldn't do what you're gonna say. Because you've been in here. How about those computers? I wonder why the Chiefs let him win. I think it was a setup deal. I think the book made him fade him. I think they did.
Playoffs now.
Yeah. So, couldn't win all year long, but when you get the last thing, it's like, come through.
Bill brought that hay off of distraction today.
Oh, did he? It actually works pretty good if we can get that bar out of there. It's just icing over our thing.
Yeah, I love the deal.
Only he goes on it.
Hey Shelley. It's in the code book, so you can do it that way.
This is what she did for me.
It's in the code book, so.
He has to sign this in-house.
Oh, I got you.
Okay. Here's one, and here's one if you want.
I'll give you one so you can follow along here, alright?
But he just needs to say it. You can administer it.
Oh, I thought he had to repeat it.
Oh, repeat after you, yeah. Okay.
If you raise your right hand and repeat after me, sir. I, Ken Counts,
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska
for the Constitution of the United States and the state of Nebraska
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
that I take this obligation freely and without mental reservation or for the purpose of evasion,
I take this obligation freely and without mental reservations or purpose of evasion.
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform the duties of the office of council member according to law to the best of my ability.
I will faithfully and impartially perform the duties of the office of city council member according to the law and to the best of my ability.
And I do further swear that I do not advocate, nor am I a member of any political party or organization that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or of this state by force or violence.
I do further swear that I do not advocate nor am I a member of any political party or organization that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or the state by force or violence or during such times in any position I do not advocate.
That I will not advocate nor become a member of any political party or organization that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or of this state by force or violence, so help me God.
I will not advocate nor become a member of any political party or organization that advocate the overthrow of the government of the United States or the state by force or violence, so help me God.
Congratulations. I'll sign here, you can sign and then I will.
And then you can officially take your seat. I got a book over here, I think, for you, Ken.
Oh, there.
Wherever you wanna sit, there's two open spots.
This is good.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Number 5 here, approve the November 6th meeting minutes.
I put a copy of them on your piles today, for tonight.
Make motion to approve the minutes from November 6th meeting.
I'll second. Roll call.
Ellen?
Yes.
Ken?
Yeah. I haven't
Sorry.
read them yet, but go ahead. I'm sure they're fine.
Jerry? Scott?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yep.
Ron?
Yes. Okay. Treasurer's report will be presented and filed for audit. Acknowledge receipt of library, Elkhorn Meadows Airport, HCED, LB 840 meeting minutes, and duplex financial report. Okay. Number 8, elect council president.
Jerry Osborne is your current sitting council president, so you need to,
Since I can't say no, I'll make a motion to re-elect Jerry.
Jeff. Jerry. Is there a second out there?
I'll second.
Okay,
Okay, roll call.
I'm coming. Ken?
Yes.
Jerry? Scott?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
And Helen?
Yes.
Okay, elect chair and vice chair for Community Development Agency.
So I think Josh has got to be the chairperson of that as the mayor. And then you just need the co-chair, but you have to re-elect Josh every year to it. So, you just need a nomination for a co-chair with him.
It was Jerry.
It was Jerry.
By somebody else, I'd make that motion. to re-elect or railroad him or whatever you want to call it.
Roll call.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay.
Not a roll call.
Jerry, Scott,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Helen,
Yes.
and Ken.
Yes.
10, mayor's appointments. Reappoint Shelley as city clerk treasurer. Reappoint Jimmy Collins as police chief. Reappoint Gary Thurlow as utility superintendent. Reappoint Cheyenne Young as economic development director. Reappoint Michael Scholes as city attorney. Reappoint Reed Miller as a city street superintendent. Reappoint Miller and Associates as city engineer. Reappoint John Tubbs as city physician. Reappoint Gary Thurlow as building permit inspector.
So I just need one motion to,
I'll make a motion that we approve the mayor's appointments.
in a second,
I'll second that.
No roll call?
Scott,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Ron, Helen,
Yes.
Ken,
Yeah.
and Jerry.
Okay, number 11. Discuss, approve placement of a statue of Jacob Schmucker in front of the American Legion Post 86. Terry Buska, Legion Commander, will speak with the council.
I don't know if everybody's known that the Armory in O'Neill is going up for auction. And there's a statue dedicated to Jacob Schmicker and William Bailey from Omaha that's out in front of the Armory. Josh got pictures there of it. The statue itself is 6 foot tall. That base is 5 foot tall. We don't need to necessarily go the 5 foot, but we'd like to bring it back here. The state of Nebraska, or the National Guard, sounds like we can have it. They have no other place to go with it. So with that being said, we can't really place it outside of the Legion because that's city owns all that property. So we're just asking for permission to place that. We're not sure really where to go yet. We're gonna discuss that at our next meeting. And we're just trying to get permission to place the statue somewhere there by the Legion. Location to be determined later.
We will be notified before you actually place it
Yes.
though, so we can say yes or no.
Yes. It'll be just basically a discussion at the Legion to see where we'd like to place it, and then once we get that, settled, we probably won't be able to place it until spring, because we're gonna probably have to put it on some kind of cement base or something anyway, so, we'll have time to mess
And I
with
look
that
at the
later.
place, just that big lot just north of or east of the hall, because there's a big grass area there that nothing's ever done with it.
Between the,
Between the pool and the community
Okay.
center, the big grass area there.
and there is a, LED light there, one of them new
Right,
lights.
and you can maybe fix that up somehow and make it a memorial deal, because it's just grass, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion, we have them, allow them to do that after they just
Determine
plan it,
location.
maybe get a hold of either the community center committee or the park board committee for placement.
Okay,
Would that be okay?
Yes.
I'd second that.
okay.
Okay, then roll call?
Chuck,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Helen,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
and Jerry, and Scott.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 12, Leo Seeger to discuss issues at Woodlawn Cemetery with council.
The reason I asked to be put on the agenda is, I got a letter from Stuart a month ago, and I'm afraid, we're starting to run into problems at Woodlawn, and whatever Woodlawn does, we're probably gonna do at the Catholic cemetery. But, they are just allowing benches or any foot markers unless it's a veteran's marker. No benches, no nothing in Stewart and St. Boniface. So we've got quite a problem at Woodlawn. I don't know quite how to handle it. We've got one grave with a big porch swing there. We've got fit graves with just stuff like signs, and the hot button thing is, folks, is people that have lost people, including, you know, I have family out there too. And I don't wanna cause these people any undue, problems, but I think we need to get a handle on, the foundations must be permanent. I have had some people just put, landscaping pavers out there, and they settle, and they, you know. And the other half of people don't think things through, like they'll put a bench in, but then they have to be moved to get the second burial in if it's not a cremation. And so then they're appalled that we have to move it. I mean, they just don't think it through. The swings and the bench thing is, I have one family that's got a swing, they're pretty upset, they're pretty adamant, and this is a wood lawn that they wanna keep it. They like the cement under it, and it's, probably takes up a 4-foot footprint. The problem you have is you can't mow those rows. And they say, well, we'll maintain it, and I say, well, that's great until you're gone, then who's gonna maintain it? That type of thing. I don't know what the answer is. I think if we ever open up a new cemetery, which probably won't happen in my lifetime, but I think you better just go to headstones only, no footstones, unless it's a veterans marker, it can be mowed over. But a lot of cemeteries do that, and I don't advocate that we have only the in-ground ones like they do in Omaha. I just think that doesn't look like a cemetery to me. But I want to put this on your radar. We don't have to decide anything tonight, but I'd like you to think about it, mull it over. In some of those families, you know, they're kids, they're teenagers, they're young 20-year-olds, and I hope I never lose the kids. I know what that feels like. So I just want you guys to be aware that, sometime we might just have to have a woodlawn meeting and invite the public. Say, tell us what you know, what are we gonna do? And, but I don't know if we need to go down that road yet either. So think about that one, that's a tough one. Then there's another movement out there, it's called green burial. Most cemeteries are refusing to allow it, and I would probably, if I were you folks, would probably recommend against that as well. Years ago, we are on our books now, it says you must have at least a cement box because of the caving of the ground, the tipping over the stones, that all is facilitated by decaying and stuff. We don't have nearly the problem now that we have with the cement box or the vault wall. The green burial is just what it sounds like. You go in the ground with nothing around you. Not, you know, you have groundwater issues probably anyway, but you know, I just think it's a slippery slope. I think if people are gonna allow it, I think they're gonna take it back after a few years if they see what's happening. But I wanted to get that one out there too. I think that is probably regulation that needs to be passed. I know of 2 cemeteries in Holt County that you can do that on. They're both country cemeteries. They're more than happy to take all the green burials. Matter of fact, they took one at Cleveland Cemetery. Most of you know where that's at, north of Stewart. And they took a green burial from Lincoln, and I helped facilitate that because, like I said, we have a vault law in these cemeteries now. But if you get a bunch of people that come in and say, I want you to think about this green burial thing, I think it's, you could still put somebody in a vault, or a cement box, and it will still act as pretty much a green burial. As far as, I don't wanna get too graphic, but as far as dust to dust and that kind of thing, that'll still happen. But I think you better have something around, is just my thing. And so, with the other cemeteries in Holt County allowing that, the 2 in the country that I can think of, I talked to their board members at Cleveland. They don't have plans to change that anytime soon. They're happy with the way things are going, and I don't think this is gonna be a huge trend here in the city. It's probably gonna be. It's happening a lot in Colorado, because Colorado sunsetted their laws. They have no funeral director laws, they have no funeral director board, they don't have anything. It's like the Wild West in Colorado. And I just saw today in the news that they busted a funeral home over there with over 200 bodies in it. That we're not, and that happens because you have no rules. So here in Nebraska, we have lots of rules, they're good rules, but we don't want to be the Wild West like Colorado. So, mostly informational for you, I'm not sure we need to act on anything right now, but if that comes up, I want you to all be thinking down the road.
Do we already have something in place that says that it has to be in a vault, Leo, and
Yeah,
Woodlawn?
it has to be in at least a cement box.
Okay,
It's a cemetery regulation now. If you don't change it, I think you're good. I think you're covered.
okay,
If somebody says, hey, I want a green burial, I'll say, no. And if I hear about it, I'll say, they don't allow it, but here's 2 cemeteries that do. And they're more than happy to take care of you and all that, so. It's not like they don't have a place to go if they wanna go, back that way, but it just shouldn't happen probably here at city-owned cemetery in town. And the Catholics won't allow it either, I know, and neither will Stewart on both cemeteries, so.
Just don't drink water in that area.
My dad used to kind of joke about that and say, it's shallow well, don't drink the water out there. So, but that's been the law since I wanna say 83, is when the cemetery board passed that and said, we're gonna have at least a cement box or a vault. And cement boxes, for your information, is not sealed, a vault is sealed. So, they used to use wooden boxes a lot, and my own family, my mother's sister was buried that way, and 10 years before Mom died, we went out there and it was a big overnight, and she couldn't think about it anymore, so we actually exhumed, put in a vault and reburied. So, whatever side that you're on, thinking down the road, but I just wanted to get it on your radar rather than show up some and go, we gotta do something right now. Right now, it's just information for you guys and everything's fine, I think we're covered, but if more comes up, but that bench thing and that swing thing and all that, I'm not saying I'm against them, but we need to have regulations that can be no larger than this, it can take no more footprint than that. And it has to be, stones right now have to have and benches have to have a cement border of at least 3 inches, as I think what our regulation says, if I remember right, 3 or 4 inches. And that's all covered right now in your bylaws. And maybe a good thing to do is, I'll make sure that, I think Shelley's got a current copy of that, but if I've got one, if she doesn't, I'll make sure maybe she can send it to you next month in your package, you can all read about it, if you want it, but, or stop in, I'll give you one.
The swing part's covered in our bylaws already.
What's that?
The swing part is covered in the bylaws already.
No, it's not,
Do we have a cemetery board? We do, don't we?
yes.
yeah. Who's all on it, do you know?
Cemetery board, Bonnie Bilstein, Daryl Lizey, Shelley Winnicky, Claron and Wax, and Clark Gottschall as an advisor.
Josh, how about having the cemetery board come back with recommendations of what we can,
For that swing and stuff.
that would be,
Yeah.
Looks like we have one that's expiring in 23 as far as on there, so we need to get a new person or see if she wants to stay on it.
And I'd like to, if I could, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way at all to anybody, with the exception of Daryl on that board, nobody knows what they're looking at out there, probably Daryl and I. There's alleyways, and some places have them, some places don't, some places are 4 foot, some places are 2 foot. So what you have then is when you go to dig your grave, like when Ryan pulls in there with the machine to dig your grave, if there's not a alleyway, he's gotta drive down those roads, and if there's a swing in the way, and it's cemented, you can't get down the road to even dig the grave. And so, these people are thinking with their emotions and not with, and just the fact is, we've gotta still be able to maintain the grounds of it, so it looks nice and so that's an issue again. But I would like to somehow advise those board members, or at least say, if you're gonna change things, because reality is, if people are mad, they're not coming to the city to bitch about the cemetery, guess where they're coming? And I've already gotten those phone calls and, so, let's just, if we can, if just could keep me in the loop, please, 'cause, I'd appreciate it.
Leo, is there, I'm gonna jump back to your other topic on the green burial. Is there a separate set of like bylaws or something for the cemetery, or is it just in the code that sets forth? Because there's a section in the code that says every grave shall have a grave liner, the minimum of such shall be concrete.
Yeah.
Just grave liner, that means box?
Yeah, that's the cement box in the bulk.
Okay,
They call them grade liners, and that's an all-encompassing
okay.
cement box. It's sealed and non-sealed, but it's lined. That's,
So somebody couldn't say if they, have, everything but the top of it lined with concrete.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That grave liner necessarily means an enclosed box
yeah.
of some kind.
Well, that's what it needs to be, but now let's go back just a minute and you say, okay, if this person says at my expense, I wanna put a body in the ground and I wanna cover it with concrete. Does that, the way you would interpret that, is that covered, cause it says cement enclosure? I mean,
Right.
right now I think we're okay unless somebody really wants to push the box. I just think we could just, if we need to add a term, just no green burials. Or something along that line,
It does say there shall be no burials, only wooden urns or boxes, but.
yeah. Yeah. So, I think it's something people are used to, but I really wanted to talk to you about that maintenance issue. If you could send something out to the cemetery board and let them meet and talk, and I can have them get a hold of me and I'll come to them and explain what's going on. I think a lot of them are aware of it. And Daryl, he can weigh in, he's good at that stuff, so he's still, they called him the other day and I couldn't find this burial in the book, it was not in the book. And I said, where is that? And he's like 5 years ago, he said, go to here, go to, I mean, he was right on, I couldn't have told you that. So, anyway, there you go.
Okay,
Thank you for hearing me out, and things kick off worse, I'll call you.
okay, thank you, Leo.
Thank you.
Okay, 13, Mary Beth Bonnie would like to discuss the dog ordinance and the dogs running at large in town with the council. Okay?
May I approach?
Yeah.
Yes.
When I became a dog owner, I think 3-4 years ago, I was told that my dog either had to be on a chain or in a fenced-in yard. That was what the ordinance was. And then it had to be licensed through the city of Atkinson. Last winter, I had a lady come to my house because my dog, I was buying the chain leash hookups from Baumgart's. Every 2 weeks she would break one. And that day she happened to break the chain. The lady assumed that the dog was running at large. And I did not know that she was running loose out there. And so after I had let my dog back in the house, she come and chewed me up one side and down the other. I have never met this woman. I have yet to see her in this town. So I don't even know if she was a resident of this town. So, I had to, and this may be on borderline abuse, but this is what my dog is hooked up to. Because she cannot break this. This is if you go to Baumgart's, this is a 680-pound chain. That's the weight that this will hold.
Yeah.
She's a 50-pound dog. This is what I hook this to. These both are 90 pounds. She can break this because she has broke this, and I've had to replace it. There's dogs running loose up at the nursing home. They have a cat that was born and raised there, and the resident feeds that cat. And they sit there in the dining room and they watch that cat eat. That's their enjoyment. These dogs come up and they chase the cat away and they eat the cat's food. And it upsets the residents. My mother has called the city office I do not know who she spoke with. I don't know if it was Shally or if it was Cheryl. I do know that Dave Menzer has been up there and has talked to one of the owners of the dogs. And the owner of the one dog is Kipley Castleberry. And there is a resident that goes out every evening, and he has informed me he is paralyzed. He's in a power chair. He has no feeling from the waist down. He told me that the dogs have growled at him and bared their teeth at him. And so I feel it's a safety issue. And if my dog has to be chained up, why does theirs run loose?
How many are there?
There's 3. And I almost hit one of them. Cause it was a German Shepherd. And I went up there, I teach at Bible study at 1:30. Well, this day they were having a van ride at 1:30. And so the activity director wanted to know if I could come at 10 and do the Bible study instead. And I said yes. And I was not prepared for dogs running loose up there. And as I pulled in, he ran out in front of me. And I almost got him.
Well, I guess we'll go to the lady you said and tell them they need to keep their dogs in their area, in their yard.
And I don't know who the other 2 dogs belong to.
Okay. Okay, we'll do that. We'll tell them to keep their dogs.
Because am I correct that the ordinance states that they have to be chained up?
No, ma'am, it doesn't. The ordinance says it has to be a fence, has to be a chain, can be one of those fenceless barriers. It can be, but it doesn't specifically say it has to be a chain or a fence. So, but it does say it has to be retained or detained within their yard. So that's what the ordinance does say.
Okay.
And we do have a new nuisance, I guess it's a nuisance form that we just
Nuisance
done. And basically, it's gonna be issued to the people, give them so many days to comply. If they fail to comply, then they'll be fined. So that's what we started this month.
Okay. Because I know I have called Larby up. And he informed me, well, you catch the dog and take it to the Atkinson vet. And I felt that it wasn't my job to catch the dog.
It's not, ma'am. All you gotta do is if you call the police department, one of us will take care of it. We'll catch the dog, we'll take it to the pound, and once it's in the pound, they have to pay the fee to get it out, and then there's a fine imposed upon that.
Oh, there is a fine?
Yes, ma'am. Can't be up to $500.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm glad I got this changed because I can't afford $500 fine.
So hopefully that answers some of your questions.
Okay. Because it would be really bad if this resident would get bit. Because I had a friend 4 months ago get bit by a dog. She's still, even though the dog bite has healed, she is still in excruciating pain. And she said, I just couldn't imagine, him being paralyzed. What a dog bite would do to him. And he shouldn't have to be quarantined to the building because there's dogs running at large. Because the nursing home is his home.
Alrighty.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty, number 14, approve ordinance 1187, which provides for a dedicated revenue source for repayment of a state revolving fund loan with the Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy.
So with the water project that we have coming up, this just basically says that we're gonna repay our loan and that you guys authorize, the loan payments or it's the low interest. I think we got no interest. This has to be taken care of before December 31st, or else we're gonna have to pay interest on it next year. So we need to get this ordinance passed so that we can stay at our zero interest loan for that water project that you approved, what was it, 2 or 3 months ago? Just basically says that we're gonna have a dedicated source of revenue, which will be, it has to come out of our utility funding, to pay that loan back.
I make a motion to approve that because that's just our next step in it, isn't it?
Yep, it's our next step, but, we need to, you introduced it, and I'm gonna read it, an ordinance of the city of Atkinson to provide a dedicated revenue source for repayment of a state revolving fund loan with the Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy to grant a lien in favor of Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy on parity with the city's other debt services, to repeal all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and to provide an effective date and to provide for service in pamphlet form. Chuck, when you do this, I need you to waive, you make the motion to waive the 3 readings.
Okay, I
Yeah.
make the motion to waive the 3 readings.
And then I need a second on that.
Roll call.
Before you do roll call, I wanna ask how much money are we talking payment wise?
I don't
I
remember.
realize we gotta do this, but you said it's coming out of the, sewage and water fund, utility fund.
Yep.
We already got several things coming out of that from the past, don't we, like sewer plant and all them?
That is actually being paid for, through, I think it's the solar panel, money that we get in.
I didn't know about that.
The NPPD gives us, it's right around that $35,000 to $40,000 a month, and a portion of that I do believe goes to that wastewater treatment plant. And then, that gets paid for out of their sales tax money that goes into that account that takes care of that.
Okay.
Well, this went from like a $700 and some thousand project, we cut it down to 400 and some thousand, correct?
Yep, and I can't tell you for sure what the impact on the users is gonna be until we get this paperwork done and to the state, the Department of Environment and Energy.
Okay.
They said right around that 90 cent, we'd probably have to increase like 90 cents. We have been in the red in our utility department for several years. And so last year they started with an increase, an incremental increase, so that we can start pulling that utility department out of the red. And Department of Environment and Energy, that's one of the reasons that they are demanding that it come out of your utilities, because too many cities like ours are operating in the red in their utility department, and they're trying to bring everybody out of that. So, because they're dragging from their other fund sources, like streets or whatever. I can't remember what the final loan on this was gonna be after the SRF money and the ARPA money was, I think it was like right around 200, 225, I think in the end. I'd have to look, Ken, to be sure. I have to have
We can
that.
talk about it later.
Yeah. So waive the 3 readings. Helen,
Yes.
Ken,
Yeah.
Jerry, Scott,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
and Ron.
Yes.
Okay, now we need a motion to actually, to do a final passage. So I need somebody to motion for final passage of 1187.
So I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second it.
No, roll call.
Ken,
Yeah.
Jerry, Scott,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
and Helen.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, number 15, discuss approve resolution 23-13 year-end certification and certify Reed Miller as the 2023 street superintendent.
So this is just one of those things that we have to do to get our highway allocation funds every year. This amounts to quite a little money, but we have to certify, we have to have an actual certified engineer for our streets to be able to do that, and that's why we're with Miller and Associates, Reed Miller. So I just need a, no, this is just a resolution, so I just need to catch up with what I'm talking about. We just need a motion and a second to pass it.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Scott.
Second.
I will.
Roll call.
Jerry? Scott?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Helen?
Yes.
And Ken?
Yeah,
Okay. Appoint Reed Miller, S-514 Class A, as street superintendent for 2024, beginning January 1st, 2024.
So now that you've passed the resolution for 2023, you have to appoint Reed Miller as the 2024 superintendent.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Helen.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Roll call.
Scott?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Helen?
Yes.
And Ken?
yes,
Jerry?
17, discuss approved building permit for Donna Osborne for a house with garage at 47668 East Pearl Street.
Once again, I'm questioning like Ron of why we're getting the building permit and foundation's already poured.
The foundation was poured before she ever came in and got the permit. So I don't know if Gary's, I can't answer that because I don't know if Gary, seen it and told Donna that she needed to come in for the building permit. Because it's actually not within the city limits, it's actually out in that extra whatever jurisdiction, ETJ. So I don't know if they didn't think that they had to have one.
I know those people real well, overworked for my dad for years, and I'll bet you they were very unaware that they were within a mile of control, or whatever you guys call that.
I guess I thought that was city limits.
Yeah,
No.
they're pretty conservative, I don't
Yeah,
think
no,
they've done anything wrong, but that's what I know.
So I think it was something that we caught, I think Gary caught, cause Donna said that she was told she needed to come in and get a building permit. So
Okay.
the only one we've worked with is Donna through this. I don't even think, there's no city sewer or water out there even, it's,
I think there's city sewer there now.
it's up as far as Ken Osborne, but
Can you put it in up to this? Seeker was,
Derek Seeker.
yeah, Kenny buried that.
But I don't know if she was gonna try, and she knows that if she wants that city sewer, she has to pay. They were gonna need a lift station and everything there. So, yeah, I think that they've tried to do something else with that now. But yeah, we kinda got in on this, the house was gonna be there the next week when she came in and got the permit.
I guess I make a motion to approve the permit. I mean,
Need a second.
Okay.
Roll call.
Chuck,
yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Helen, Ken, Jerry, and Scott.
Yes.
Okay. Number 18, discuss approved tear down permit for Boyd Mitchell to tear down a house and outbuildings at 404 South William Street.
This is all one of the old, I know, you're looking right at me, and I talked to Gary about it. I don't know if he talked to Boyd or not.
What we're talking about is, I mean, it's a good thing, he needs to tear it down and everything, but there is a sidewalk out in front of that that goes north and south. There's no mention on the building permit if Gary talked to Boyd or not, or if the, you know, if they're gonna drive the backhoe over that, or the excavator over that and tear it up. Is he aware that it has to go back? And I still think that a lot of our problems in this town starts with Gary, not after we talked and talked and talked about getting these permits walked through so it protects all of us. He's still not getting it done. You know, if they unload and come in the alley, it probably won't be an issue. But we gotta help ourselves here, people. I just don't understand why. If
Are they
you
gonna
just,
put in a new house or just cleaning it out?
It just says tear down right now.
Yeah, at this time, just.
I
tear
think
it up.
on the LB 840 application, it said, possible, small home,
and then another
or to
question.
sell to,
Did
you
she
know,
tell us that private property wasn't eligible for LDA?
so
Tear
it's
down.
eligible as long as it's a business that's doing it to, okay, so like Six Pack, they got LB 840 money because they are basically tearing down, building a home to resell, which is
I understand
generating.
that. this-
And that's
this-
basically what this is, that
Okay.
MMT
Oh, I
properties.
was asking that,
Yeah.
so when the next person comes in, it's been talked about.
Yeah.
But I just don't,
Can we put something on there that says, on condition that he agrees that if he tears up the sidewalk, he replaces it right away?
well, we don't wanna hold these up, but how many times are we going to say we're not approving these until they're complete?
But how do you make sure that he's, I mean, that's the other thing, how do you make sure that it's been talked about even? I mean, we can guess.
Well, you mean,
The check mark on that building permit that you're seeing for sidewalk is if somebody wants to put a new sidewalk in.
so we need to fix that.
Yes.
We need to, if he has to handwrite that on there. We've got a lot of sidewalk problems in this
Mhm.
town, and if we don't stop, I mean,
Yeah, 'cause it says sidewalk / remove and replace, there's nothing.
The building permit is very busy. Okay, you got a lot of stuff on that one permit. And,
then you got one guy going out and supposed to be inspecting it, so,
but I mean, it's busy. I don't know if we've done a new permit, but we need somebody to look at it. Do you guys need to approve it? That says that put the sidewalk portion back on there. But it's words, you know how many people just fill them out and don't even look at it? I mean, they fill out the top part and check
so
what they want.
after they pick this thing up, they take it out, they fill it in, and then they bring it in and pay the money and leave it with the office.
Yeah,
So then does Gary go to that site and checks it over?
that's what he's supposed to do,
And
yes.
that there is when this stuff should be asked about, checked, notes made, just to protect the homeowner, if nothing else. The young lady with the sidewalking issue up by the school, up there, the old school. Poor gal, did she get told, did she get told? I don't know. So if it was in writing, wouldn't that take a lot of the talk and the trouble, miscommunications? But since that one, the ones on South Williams have been done, and that wasn't checked, and we brought it up that night, and we approved it with that condition. And, you know, so when are we going to stop making conditions and have our inspector?
Okay, we will ask Boyd what he's gonna do with his sidewalk, and then we'll go from there, okay, next. That's that's what we'll do.
We need to, I was gonna say, you either need to approve it.
We'll have to
tonight.
just wait, that way there's no ifs, ands, or buts
Okay.
on this sidewalk
Well,
deal.
they plan on tearing it down
So
in the next week.
we'll find
I
out.
don't know when they
Or
plan
someone
on
call them
turning.
right now, let's call them right now and ask them.
Well, can we put, just we approve the permit?
Okay, let's call him now,
On
and
the
then he'll
appro-
answer.
No, we're not calling now. On the approval that,
Cause this ain't getting filled out right, so we'll have to get it filled out right.
I mean, just
Right.
one more, we're just trying to make a point here that we're not getting it done yet, and this has come up at every
But
meeting we've been at.
But is it something that, we bring it up at every meeting, okay, so Gary's not here tonight, and you guys all look at me and tell me,
Well, I said what
Well,
to
I'm
do,
just
I
saying.
said
But I
we will
mean-
hold off until we get whatever this sidewalk thing, and that's it, okay, done, no
Well,
more.
that's gonna hold him up another month.
We'll find out
Because
tomorrow.
we can't approve it, but we can't approve it until next month if we don't make some type of approval tonight.
I'm not saying fix that, I was just asking that we need to step up our maneuvers and ask you.
Josh, are you gonna be one talking to me?
Yeah,
Alright, I make a motion that we approve this with Josh's
I will
final
talk to him
signature on it.
tomorrow.
So now Josh is gonna find out, and if he approves it, I approve it. Follow me? That way he'll find out about the sidewalk and he makes that decision, yes or no.
okay,
I will second.
Chuck, second,
yeah, I'll take this stuff with me tomorrow.
roll call,
Then roll call.
Ron,
We'll get it.
Yes.
Ellen,
Yep.
Ken,
Yes.
Jerry, Scott,
Yes.
Chuck.
Yes.
Okay, that's done. I'll ask them. Discuss, approve LB 840-137 property improvement grant for COCO Family Holdings LLC for facade in the amount of 50% of the project not to exceed $10,000. The estimated request is $4,565.
So you see this in here, the project is done. I'm gonna have to talk for Shy because she had her baby. The project is done. Is it Kent? That's the attorney for COs?
Oh,
Okay, so Kent, said that he thinks there was a misunderstanding between him and Amanda. He understood that they did the project and then came and got the money once they found out how much they needed. And the regulations state, that, they're supposed to come prior to and get the LB 840 grant or the LB 840 paperwork going. So, the LB 840 board, I sat in on the meeting because Shai was gone that day. They voted to approve it because they felt that it was a miscommunication and they didn't really wanna hold him up and, not, because that street is looking so much nicer over there with all the different improvements that are being made. They didn't wanna exclude him from it because we have really no way of proving that if it was a miscommunication or not a miscommunication right now.
The LB 40 committee approved it.
Yes.
I make a motion we approve it.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Roll call.
Helen? Yep. Ken?
Yes.
Jerry? Scott?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
And Ron?
Okay, 20, discuss approve LB 840-138 property improvement grant for MMT Properties LLC for tear down of a house and outbuildings at 404 South William Street in the amount of 50% of the project not to exceed $10,000. The estimate request is $4,750.
I think it says
MMT. It's a
It would
group
be-
of guys.
Boyd.
It would
It's
Huh?
Boyd Mitchell.
Jimmy Beck's house.
Yeah, the one that we're gonna find out on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So this money's coming from LB 840, so how can it go to a private guy? You just said a minute ago, we can't do private
It's,
people.
it's under MMT properties.
MMT properties
In
and
other
then,
words, I can do it, just give myself 3 initials and I can do it?
Yeah, if you went and got it all through this, yeah.
You're a legitimate corporation or
Yeah.
business.
I don't know what his for sure, I don't know what his for sure plans are for that property.
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about following the law. 1 minute, a private person can't do it, the next minute he, and I'm not picking on Boyd, making it perfectly clear. I don't care if it's Helen, I don't care if it's Scott, I don't care if it's me. How can 1 minute the state say you can't do it? And then you give yourself 3 initials and you can do it. I don't get that.
That's corporate for you.
The state says,
Because it's still a private individual.
Would each individual be private? But if they,
She
6
said
people,
LB 840 cannot be given to private individuals.
but yeah, you got 6 people in
I'm
the
guessing
corporation.
MMT stands for 3 people.
Oh, 3 people. That's a 6.
I think
Okay.
probably too, the distinction is, you know, I can't get money to fix up your personal residence or what have you, but if you're in the business of, you know, flipping houses or things of that nature, I mean, that's a business.
There's a gray line there, isn't it?
this one, it is.
If you search the LLC, it'll say if it's 3 people, 1 person, it's board.
It has more to do with what their plans are after. You know, if he plans on flipping the property, you know, and generating income or making housing for people to come into town.
But you're bringing this into what he's gonna do in the future. That's not what I'm saying.
I know,
That is not where I'm going. It's nothing to do with Boyd personally or what he's gonna do. It has to do with the law that you read about LB 840 not going to individuals. And that's what I'm hollering, that's what I'm talking about. 1 minute we can't do it, the next minute we can just because we had 3 initials, really?
I
Well,
advise,
just to go on, I'll make a motion.
I
that we
advise the
approve.
LB 840 committee of that. I can't
I know
direct
that,
their, yeah.
I'm not on you, don't get me wrong. I'll make a motion that we approve it.
Okay, need a second. Okay, now, now roll call.
Ken,
Yeah.
Jerry, Scott,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Ron, and Helen.
Okay, 21. Approve removal of Tim Larby, Grant Hitchcock, Amanda Sindelar, and Chris Weiner from Tri-County Bank Visa card.
Tri-County Bank won't let me take their names off of the cards until it goes through a city council meeting. So I have to have approval from the city council to remove them from the, credit cards.
Make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Okay, then roll call.
Jerry, Scott,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Helen,
Yes.
and Ken.
Yeah.
Okay, 22. Approve obtaining Tri-County Bank Visa cards for Travis Schmitz, James Collins, Corby Krieger, and Shai Young.
So just the same, I can't add them without the city council's approval. Travis is going to be doing a lot of the water samples and needs credit cards to be able to go to the post office to do that. Jimmy will be going on, they have, if they EPC or if they do something like that, they need to have a credit card so that they can get gas depending on where they have to go. Kearney, North Platte, Norfolk, those kind of places. Corby, I think, is going to be doing the sewer samples the way it sounds while Scott is gone. And Shai will be going to different conferences, to try and get her up to par on the LB 840.
Do these cards have limits?
Yes, yes. And they must have receipts to get reimbursed for us. If they don't, then we,
Take it out of there, picture. I make a motion. I'll second Helen's motion.
Okay.
Scott,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes. I'm sorry.
Helen,
Yes.
and Ken,
Yeah.
and Jerry. Okay,
23, discuss update on Boyd Holt E911 fees for 23-24.
so, the member communities, I'm gonna do this in line. Ewing, Page, Inman, O'Neill, Emmett, Stewart, and Atkinson are all, have all pretty much agreed that, we will stand together. There will be a letter that is signed by all the communities, requesting, the information, the financial information, the explanation of the financial information, from E91 board. I don't know if I said this last time, but I had gotten a hold of a thing from their last meeting, and it had $39,000 worth of
Mhm.
expenses. It spelled out 5,000 of them, and 34,000 was just unexplained. Well, what is that? I wouldn't get away with that with the state, or with you guys. I mean, I wouldn't even think about turning that over into my council. So, I think the member communities want an explanation. So I would say no vote on that yet until we can, I know that the letter is prepared. I don't know if they're waiting for city council still to come over. I'm not sure. I know that the letter is prepared.
Okay. Is that it?
Yep.
24, discuss, approve enforcement of all ordinances in the city of Atkinson, including the sidewalk ordinance.
This was tabled from the last meeting, so
I don't know why we keep on going around it. I think our ordinances are the law of the town. Our cops should be enforcing them. They shouldn't be waiting for us to tell them what to do. If anybody wants an ordinance changed, they need to come in and have, work through trying to get them changed, like the sidewalk ordinance. I'm not saying it hasn't outlived its ordinance, I mean, it's life. But I'm just saying, you don't not comply to the law just because you want it changed. So, that's my, I mean, you guys know my opinion on it, whatever. But we got 3 cops. I see Jimmy out working, I see the other 2, you wave at them when you go by and they got their heads buried in their phones. And they could be out doing something if you ask me, but once again, that's my opinion, so.
Okay. Anybody else have something?
Guys,
I put mine in.
this is your time to talk. It's not your
Okay,
time
I've
to
been
sit.
hounded for 20 years. And I finally put mine in. They was gonna go after me since Helen, I mean,
Helen,
not, yes, not that, yeah. Mary Ellen, my neighbor. She wasn't gonna put one in, so. I don't know what to tell you, Ron, I got mine in. I don't know if
You're
anybody
focusing,
else.
Scott, you're focusing on the sidewalk ordinances, that's
Yeah.
what you're focusing on. I'm just saying on all our ordinances.
Well, I say yes.
Do we have our cops enforce them? Do we throw them out? Do we enforce them and ask people to come in and work through getting the ones they don't want, throw it out? But
I
don't
I
know.
looked at a lot of them. Like you say, there's trees. You're gonna have to remove some trees and it's gonna cost people. But like if there's a way we can go through the tax dollars to have them take it out of the weight or something. But it's gonna be hard on a lot of people. And I put mine in. I don't know if people wanna pursue it. It's a 50-50 deal. I mean, if you're gonna put an ordinance in, okay, this Joe Blow ain't gonna put one in, why should I put one in? So I had to put one in so he could put one in. Then the other person could put one in. Now, if we get a chain that we three put one in, why can't everybody else put one in? And it costs our own to do it. But a lot of people can't afford it. And I don't know how we're gonna get money for them. I mean, times are tough right now. Taxes went up.
I'm not fixating on the sidewalks, Scott.
Okay.
I'm asking the question, you as a councilman, do you think we should enforce our ordinances, or should we talk about it every month and not do
Well, I
anything
think we
about
should
it?
enforce
That's all
them.
I'm asking,
Okay, we'll enforce them.
you know,
We'll enforce them.
what do the rest of you think?
Well, how do we, I mean, do we go back through the book, Ron, and dig up old ordinances and enforce them? Or do we enforce the ones that we have a complaint on? or-
That is what I'm asking, that's all I'm asking. I mean, I'm not asking to go out and turn the town upside down.
And I don't, maybe this is not the route to look, but it looks to me like we should enforce the ones that are complained about. If there's a complaint and somebody asks, is that an ordinance? We have to look it up and say, yes, if it is, it's a legitimate complaint, and we move upon it. Is that right or wrong?
What about the damaged ones? They've been there, so we won't do
We get
that.
back to the sidewalk
You know, I don't think he's ever left the site.
So, well, I'm talking other things.
Dogs, you're talking about dogs.
Yeah,
Well, I
we got
don't
Mary
know.
Beth here talking about the
Well,
dog ordinance.
The dog ordinance, the side-by-side ATV ordinance, you know, them are some things that have been brought up in our meetings. And we've never really come up with we're going to enforce them, or we're not going to enforce them.
Well, they get paid to
They
enforce
have
them,
been, well, but which ones do we enforce, Scott?
all of them, the dogs.
Do you go back through the red book and drive around town and say this tree is out of place, so there's an ordinance against it, you gotta remove it? Do we do that, or do we wait till somebody says that tree's in my way, is there an ordinance against that?
I think I agree with Chuck, I don't think we need to go out, like I say, turn the town upside down and cause hardship.
So we'll just let people.
I
somebody
think,
has a
I think
problem.
we enforce the ordinances that are complained of.
Right. And how does that complaint come in? Do you have to get on the agenda to come say something to you?
Yes.
Is there a form?
If you have a complaint, you have to come to the
Well,
office.
if it's a complaint, you can come in and file a complaint form with the city of Atkinson. And then from there, if it's an ordinance on the books and we get a complaint on it, then we follow up on it. So like if you come in and you complain about your neighbor's dog in your yard, you come in and you fill out a complaint form, you have to sign your name to it, and then I'll give it to Jimmy, and then Jimmy's gotta follow up on it, cause it's a dog ordinance.
We have been doing that though. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, if people are calling in and complaining, we had some on garbage, we have to
I
follow.
was just asking, I had no idea, honestly. And I get Mary Beth's madness about this dog, because there's 3 of them, and it is horrible. I don't know how it doesn't bother your house.
They don't
because
make it over to us,
It is absolutely horrible, so, I
The
think
thing that bothers us is the cats.
the cats.
Well, there's
I don't know if
thousands.
they're feral or what, but what do we do about them?
Well, I can tell you about that. There is no ordinance against cats. Cats is not on the ordinance thing, but we do have traps that you can rent from the city at the police department. They're $15 deposit, catch the traps, but it's up to you to dispose of the cats any way you want to and bring the traps back.
Cause we have one that poops in our shed and sits on our cars.
And if you catch a skunk, it's yours.
Oh, I don't think so.
Whatever you catch, you have to dispose of it.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have a mouse problem, do we?
We have a cat
Or a
problem.
rat.
We do have a cat problem.
We have a
Get
cat
back-
problem in our
Getting
neighborhood.
back to this, I would agree with him that, go after the ones that
Won't
come
be,
in
though.
complaining, and eventually everything will get taken care
Okay,
of.
Yeah.
so
But
yeah,
Like-
keep in mind that you're talking about sidewalks and stuff, a lot of that stuff in that red book on them things is safety for our community. Whether it's a dog or inside, that's safety issues for our community. Let's not get in a hurry to throw things out.
Okay. Just take it one day at a time.
so we need we're gonna,
Do we vote on this, Michael? voting to
Is there a
enforce
motion
our,
on the table? I mean, I don't.
The ordinance are
You
already
got
there,
supposed
aren't
to-
they?
You got a red ordinance book, why would you vote on anything?
Yeah.
It's already been done.
Right.
so when I put it in the minutes, I'm just gonna state that we're gonna follow the ordinances correct in this town. If a complaint is made, we will follow up and see if there's an ordinance and then follow through as, because I don't think it needs to come to the council every time there's a complaint on an ordinance. If there's an ordinance, there's a law, so that's,
That's Jim's job.
okay.
Okay. 1225, okay, approve longevity pay as recommended by personnel committee.
Give that
Oh,
to-
did you have your hand up?
I was just gonna make a suggestion on the ordinances,
A year ago.
that maybe you guys need to make a committee and go through some of that, cause I think there's some in there that are pretty outdated. I think there's one in there for spitting on the sidewalk.
I think you're right.
You know what I'm saying? Just to help you
Yeah,
guys
that's
out,
what I say
to
about
kinda
the
weed out
sidewalk.
some of that,
They
junk,
Christmas bonus.
you know, but keep your serious ones like your dogs and your streets and your sidewalks and stuff, but you, it probably wouldn't hurt to put a committee together to go
I
through
do
and
got
renew
one.
them.
Every year.
Can I mention that? Helen?
Jimmy? Yeah.
I was just thinking, you know, I just bought a four-wheeler. Now, if I put it on my trailer to go do the sidewalk, to license my four, it's gonna cost about $800. And I can't afford that in a month.
No, you get a tag, don't you?
You get a tag from the
Tag.
city.
No,
Cost you $10 to put a
Yeah.
tag on it from the city,
well, you still gotta have insurance on it, don't you?
Yeah.
liability.
$63.
Yeah, it's gonna cost me $180. I
If you
priced
wanna write
it,
If you wanna write it on the street,
but I'm gonna put it on my trailer.
then you don't need it.
Okay, gotcha.
But if you
It can't
get a
be
car
ridden-
on the street,
It can't be ridden on the street.
I mean, push snow away from the curb. That's all I've asked. But I'll tell you, it's, this town, just like, I was sitting in my chair about 4 o'clock. A guy runs Shannon stoplight. He's right here local in town, going probably over the speed limit. And then this winter, the kids, I go down past Owen sidewalk being a good guy. They always push the snow back down. Want they walk down the sidewalk and walk decent. You know, cause remember that, Ron? Cause he said, Jim Martin said he's gonna find me. Yeah, I mean, I've talked to the school and you can't tell them kids nothing. You know, you go down the sidewalk, they punch it right down. There's a big ass drift right there. They crawl on the drift, put it right down to the fence. And I'm not gonna put up with that. You know, I'm good a hard enough guy to go down it. But, yeah, I do mind getting the subway, put snow right there last year, right in front of the parking, right in front of the sidewalk. Did we get that removed? No.
Yeah, I think Leo went and scooped it.
Well, I don't know who did.
Yeah.
I
Had
couldn't.
a snow blower or something.
But, and they block that
I think
alley all the
city
time
guys
too,
scooped some or something.
and I'm tired of
I
that.
did it one day.
Yeah, yeah,
But that's all I got.
okay.
Try to get them things done on these, you know, during the summer. Infant right in front of the steering wheel of the four-wheeler. I've seen it. Next time I'll take a picture.
what's that?
Little kids riding on the.
Right in their mother's seat.
Oh,
Four-wheeler.
oh, in
And they're
between.
not
That ain't the-
strapped in or even in the golf carts.
Yep,
They're just loose, these little kids.
but,
That's the man here.
There is no ordinance against it, and it doesn't fall as a motor vehicle.
well,
A golf cart does?
No, ma'am, it doesn't. Golf carts don't even have seatbelts in them.
But the city of Atkinson included them in the UTV, ATV category,
The golf carts.
the golf carts.
So they have to be tagged with the city, but that's about all.
There's nothing in the four-wheeler state statute
It
to
has-
say anything
yeah.
about a seatbelt.
Seatbelt.
Says you have to have a
Well, I
driver's
guess I
license.
don't know about
has to be
seatbelts,
insured.
but we're back to the license.
They're supposed to have
The
helmets if
license
they're.
permit
They're
have to
license
be
and
licensed.
helmets.
They don't have to have
Okay,
helmets.
Well, it'd be a good,
They don't have
good
to have
thing to
helmets
pull
because
them
they're
over
different than a
and
federal.
check their license.
I was gonna say 8, come on.
Yeah.
And it's just
For
common
the-
sense,
if
guys,
they-
really. Who the hell's gonna put a kid on their seat?
Yep, there's
You're
a lot
driving
of
down
them.
the street. I mean, if you ain't got that much common sense, you shouldn't be a parent.
There's,
They do.
there's quite a
They do.
few of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got their kids in the works.
You've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, so are we gonna approve this longevity pay as recommended by Personnel Committee?
It didn't change anything. I sent a text out to you and Josh and Jerry about this. I think I talked to you. It's the same as last year.
We implemented that last year instead of going to merit pay.
Yep.
Because the merit pay was across the board the same for everybody, and we felt that that wasn't quite right. There's a reason we changed it, and I guess I'll make a motion to approve it like we did last year.
Okay, can I get a second?
I will.
And the roll call?
Chuck,
Yes,
Ron,
Yes.
Helen,
Yes.
Ken,
Yeah.
Jerry, and Scott.
Yes.
Okay, employee appreciation dinner will be held Saturday, January 20th at the Flatiron.
Please note the change in date. We had like 6 employees that could not make it in December. I guess why hold it when over half the employees can't make it? So. But anyway, so that's why we changed it.
Okay. Change January meeting date due to New Year's holiday.
So the 1st of January is your first Monday. And I'd appreciate not going to the 2nd because there's gonna be a lot of holidays in there, but, could we do January 8th,
It's just the next Monday, right?
the next Monday? Does that work?
works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
I don't need to vote on that.
Okay, is that all we need a motion or?
Nope.
Okay, approve delinquent utilities report.
Not as good as last month, but I still didn't think it was too bad.
$400 from last time. Still pretty good.
I make a motion to approve it.
Okay, second.
I'll second.
And roll call.
Ron,
Yeah.
Helen,
Yes.
Ken,
Yeah.
Jerry, Scott,
Yes.
and Chuck.
Yes.
Okay, 29, approve claims as prepared.
Got my puncher. Jimmy got a puncher. Oh.
Approve claims as prepared.
I make a motion that we pay him.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Helen,
Yes.
Ken,
Yeah.
Jerry, Scott,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
and Ron.
Yes.
Okay, monthly reports from the department supervisors. Library, ED, water, sewer, streets, parks, woodlawn, cemetery, community center, fire, civil defense, and police. Okay.
Shy did have her baby. She'll be out for 6 weeks. She had a little baby girl, Hadley Jean, 6 pounds, 4 ounces.
Tell them about that.
Yeah, man.
She, will be out for 6 weeks, and then she's gonna come back part-time for 2 weeks, and then she'll be back full-time again. She hit the ground running. I mean, she really did, she just dug in, it's been awesome. So, and then Gary's out, of course, due to hip surgery tomorrow morning. He said he's gonna be trying to come back as soon as he can, as soon as the therapist will let him. So we'll just wait and see how that goes.
Proceed on the police department.
So, I got a mini grant from Highway Safety for a radar unit. We have one that works and one that half-ass works, and two that don't. So, it's a 60-40 grant. We've never gotten a grant from anything from public safety as far as they've known, so they pushed it through.
It's like $1,200.
They'll pay $1,200, we have to pay $1,700 for a new radar unit.
But still, we're not paying $2,900, so.
Yeah. How soon can you get another one?
Put in for it next year.
Oh.
And there's all kinds of grants. I mean, all you gotta do is just look it up. They were just never done.
Okay. Well, I guess need a motion to it.
Oh, guys, is there a chance that we can maybe try and get together, one more time? I don't know if noon works better for you, 5 o'clock, 6:30. The Whitfeld buildings across the street have got nuisances on them yet, and they can't close on those buildings for the people that bought them until we release those nuisances. And I did not find out about it till this morning, like around 9:30, I think the guy from Farmers National called me, and I can't change the agenda 24 hours prior to the meeting. So, is it something that you wanna try and call a special meeting for this month? Or wait till next month, the 8th, and we were pushing it out to the 8th of January, but I know we've got a lot of holidays coming up, so.
I can do it when they want.
Yeah.
That way the guys ain't, get that so they can just say.
It's gonna be next week or later, because I have got, I guess I forgot to say that, I've got Lori Olson's group coming in on Wednesday, to do the audit of the financial records for the fiscal year.
We just have to be together to place a vote on it.
Mhm. Don't we, is it an ordinance, Michael? How did we do that?
It's just a
Is it a
resolution.
resolution?
I think we did the same thing when they sold houses around town with
Yeah.
them, because they all carry nuisances on them. And just a motion to basically rescind those nuisance resolutions so that there can be clear title. Yeah, there was some discussion about whether to keep those on, and I think the decision was to not burden the new buyers, at least give them a chance to clean it up.
What we heard from is it the architect for Gerard? I can't remember, is it Dave or Doug or?
I'm not sure.
He was in last week, and he said that by May, the facade will start changing over on these properties that he bought. And I'm assuming, Grant, that yours is gonna be pretty
As
soon.
soon as we close.
Yeah, as soon as, they're all waiting for this close to get going on.
December 27th is what they had planned for closing date, and Dave Hickey called me this morning too and said, we just got the title commitment back this morning and it showed these were still on there. He said I would've called Friday to get on the meeting.
And I didn't know I honestly didn't know they were there. I thought that was where that court case ensued, and I didn't think there was ever a nuisance on them.
So
Well,
I think it does.
I think it's great that, the guys got some hope.
What is
They've
the
been after cleaning
nuisances?
that up.
Do you
What?
know? What are the nuisances, do you know?
I don't.
I can try and pull it up here.
I have had,
Being one on this one.
kind of on committees, I have had
Grant
There's
goes
some
corner.
calls
They
for
were thinking, so I cheaper one, we spent over 100,000 trying to get them
So for
to.
red building.
Is there a nuisance on the corner one?
I don't know about the red.
where she's out.
I was on
with
the
the
other two.
kids.
Grant, I'm not sure on the legals for which building is which, but I mean, there were things like,
You got all.
he's not listening.
Grant,
Hey Grant,
I'm not sure on the legals which one is which, but there were things like broken windows, full of garbage and waste, chipping paint, cracks that animals can fit through, things of that nature, doors that are boarded up, etc. So you should get a copy of that from farmers when they send the title commitment to you,
But if we relieve that, it shouldn't.
yeah, I mean, it'll be fine, then they can pass clear title, and then, kinda like with the houses, I guess, my advice to the council would be if in 6 months or a year, the new buyers haven't done it, and they wanna slap them back on there, but I think it makes sense to give them a chance to do something with it before.
In this tear down, do we have a time frame that the properties have to be cleaned up?
I don't think so. One thing about the property, the LB 840 grants this year is that you don't have a lot of money in that because you had roughly $80,000 come forward from last year that was never followed up on. And so that money came forward into this year's budget, so you only had about $30,000 in tear down money now. And facade improvements, so.
Did you tell me that, the sales tax deal, that 69,000?
Yeah, and I got another one, so there's but that one looks like the judgment was made, and it's starting next October, it will be monthly payments for a year.
But the 69,000 one.
The big one was turned down the way I heard.
Where the library was 27 of it, or
Yeah.
26 of it, that one fell through.
That one fell through, but another one came in.
And you don't know who.
They can't, it says right in the letter
They
that they
won't tell
cannot,
you who?
yep, they cannot just tell us who it is.
Well, at least they're going the other way.
Yeah. I just hope we don't get many more.
Well, I bet we do. I mean,
The state
just-
kinda opened
Just
up
the way the economy is.
the state opened up a loophole there, and that was not a good thing.
Okay. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Ken,
Yeah.
Jerry, Scott,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Helen.
Yes.
Adjourned.
Adjourn.